Hey, welcome everybody. This is Scott Golden here with Today in Pickleball. It's been a little while since I've done an interview with some of the pro players. I thought that it would be a really neat experience to sit down with a special guest today, a guy who's somewhat new onto the pickleball professional scene. But if you've been keeping up with the professional pickleball lately, in the last, say, 6 to 8 months, you've seen his name pop up on the big screen. He's played some of the top teams and top names in our sport, and that's Federico Staksrud. I'm going to give you a little bit of background on him. He's, like I said, fairly new to the pickleball scene, so I feel like a lot of people may or may not know much about him. Obviously, we're going to find out a lot of information. I've got a ton of questions for him. I'm sure you guys have some questions as well. We'll try to get to those. If we don't get to the questions that you have live, then I'm sure he'll be happy to go back later after the interview and answer those questions online. But a little bit about Federico. He played junior tennis in Argentina. He was the number 7 ranked Argentinian under those rankings, 18 years and younger. He played college tennis for Tennessee Wesleyan, I think I'm saying that right, and also the University of New Orleans. He was named Conference Player of the Year and NAIA All-American. So he's got some pretty good credentials as far as tennis is concerned. He was also the assistant coach for Hanover College women's team, and they were able to make it to the NCAA national tournament, which is a big deal in tennis. And then he found pickleball, and that's where we're going to pick up with him. I'm going to introduce him right now. Let's bring him on. Federico, what's up, man?
Hey, how you doing? Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So I gave a little bit of background about you, but what I really like to do for you and for the people watching is just turn it over to you and let you tell everybody a little bit more about yourself. Kind of take us through your synopsis of growing up playing sports. What kind of sports you played? Was it just tennis? Was it other sports? And then catch us up to speed.
Perfect. Yeah. So I'm from Argentina. I started playing tennis when I was 6'5". I had a tennis court in my building. So I started taking lessons, and it was always kind of like everything, right? Swimming, soccer, tennis. And then when I was like 11, 10, I got better at tennis. So I was like, I might take it a little bit more seriously. Started playing tournaments. And when I was 16, 17, started getting a little bit burned out from that because it was a lot of years. But then I saw about the opportunity of coming to the US to play college tennis, and that kind of like gave me the motivation to start playing again harder. And then, yeah, I played college tennis here in the USA, graduated, coached a little bit, and then last year around July, I went to the park to play some pickleball, buy some paddles in Walmart, and yeah, started playing pickleball.
How did you actually hear about pickleball?
So I run some clinics up in Fort Myers, that's where I'm from, and one of my students that's kind of my age, he was like, dude, you should play pickleball, I'm like, I don't have time for pickleball. I have to teach, I have to make money, and then yeah, he was like, we should go. I was like, okay, let's go. Like July, summer, hot, and then we got some paddles, and I was like, that's interesting. But yeah, that's how basically started.
And we're not talking about 5 years ago. This was July of 2021, correct? Just not even a year ago?
2021, yeah. I have no idea about pickleball, no idea, nothing.
I love it. So before we get too much into the pickleball career that you've started, I want to know, my first question for you is, you talked about starting at 5 or 6 years old playing tennis. You got burned out at 16, 17 years old. You're what, 24 now? 24 years old?
26.
Oh, 26. You're 26. Okay. Did you at any point, you said you wanted to play college tennis, but did you have aspirations to become a professional tennis player at all?
Yeah. Like when I was 15, 14, 16, I was pretty good at it. I was practicing with really good players that nowadays they are like in the Grand Slams. They are like legit professionals. So I had the chances, but still I was not doing great. And kind of like all the effort that I was putting was not showing the results. So I was kind of like, I'm done with this. When I was like 17, I'd say I was like, I'm done with this. And then like 2 months, they told me, hey, you can still keep playing college tennis in the USA, get an education. So I was like, that's great. So then like kind of like the motivation came back.
Awesome. What does that take? I guess my question, because I didn't play college tennis or really,
Yeah.
to be honest, I didn't play any college sports. What is that like coming from Argentina, unfamiliar with the US somewhat, or maybe you were familiar? Like, what's that process to get to become a college athlete?
Basically, you do a recruiting video that you show your skills. Then, of course, you have your resume and you send it out to a lot of coaches. And then, yeah, they pick you up. They give you some offers. It's kind of like with sponsorships, you know. It's like they show you like the numbers, where you will play, and yeah, I really didn't know that. What is funny is that I really didn't know anything about college tennis, about like, for example, NCAA, Division 1, 2. I had no idea. So I was like, I just play college tennis. I don't matter. It doesn't matter where I am. So I ended up I started Tennessee in the middle of nowhere. But I mean, for me, it was great. I mean, being the opportunity to be able to play a college sport and also study was amazing experience.
Yeah, I always say anybody who makes it to a collegiate level or higher in any sport, I don't care what sport it is, it's a huge accomplishment in their life, and they should be very proud of that. So that's awesome that you were able to do that. How did your skills match up with other college tennis players? How did you do? Did you finish with a good record or not a good record? How's that experience for you?
So basically, I started at NAI. That is like kind of like, it's not NCAA. It's kind of like a different league, but it's still pretty good. It has a really good teams. And then when I was a sophomore, I was like, I want to try going D1. I want to try the top level of college tennis. And then I transferred to University of New Orleans, and I did pretty good. I mean, maybe I lacked a little bit of discipline. Kind of like I was like still kind of like trying to have fun, but I mean, it's part of the college experience also. But nowadays, I think why I did some stuff, maybe I would have been better, but I mean, you never know. But yeah, I mean, I did pretty good. I was a good doubles player, and I think that's why maybe kind of like the being able to translate that to the pickleball court kind of like helps me out a little bit. But I think I did good. I don't want to talk about myself like I'm like the best, but yeah, I think I did good.
Very cool. All right, so let's transition from tennis back to pickleball. You touched on your first experience. It was one of your students. You went to the park, you bought some paddles.
Yeah,
I always am curious, were you addicted right away, or were you like, nah, this
no,
is okay, like whatever, take it or leave it?
not at all. I was really upset with not being able to perform well in a mini tennis court, and then yeah, because I was getting beat by my student. You know, I was teaching him in tennis, and then he was beating me in pickle. It didn't make sense, you know. And I was playing with a really, I'm not gonna say brand names, but I was playing with a really bad paddle from Walmart, you know. And I was like, you know, this, and then I bought a. So that's what I always say to people now: like, don't buy a $40 paddle. Get at least $100 one, and then you can start from there, because just changes the game directly, you know. And then when I bought the like $100, I don't remember exactly the amount, but I started liking it better because I could hit like kind of like different shots. I was like, this is fun now, you know. But yeah, I was not excited about it from the first moment, for sure.
And you guys played singles, right? You weren't even playing any doubles at that point.
We were playing a lot of singles, but the funny part was that we were playing doubles tournaments, because we were playing like these money balls that they don't have singles discipline, but we were playing doubles together, so it was kind of fun. You know, we didn't know how to think. You know, it was like a disaster. We were like just driving everything. I was like speeding up everything, but I mean, it was fun anyway to get that competition going.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And you mentioned Fort Myers. Was that some of the ones that Dominic Catalano did? Is that
Yeah. Not Dominic Catalano, but there's so many there in Punta Gorda. The Dink Side Out is there. They make a lot of tournaments. In Naples, where the US Open is at, they do a lot of money balls, and it was, I mean, yeah, it was a lot of fun.
very cool? All right, I always have to ask this question for tennis players. Since finding pickleball, have you even picked up a tennis racket?
Yeah, for teaching maybe some lessons. That's it. No,
But that's it.
no, I see the court. That's what I was talking with James Inatovich yesterday. we see the court is so big. How are you gonna be able to cover all that space? But yeah, no, I didn't.
Um, do you think that the addiction's real? Is pickleball a real addiction? I mean,
Yeah,
once it grabs you, do you find that you want to wake up every day and practice, drill, find somewhere to go play? Is that how it is for you?
and I think the addiction comes out from where like you get better a little bit faster than other sports. It's like let's say like, oh, I figured out this new roll backhand and then it's working. It's like it's working right away. And it's not like you have to practice it for like 10 months. Of course you can make it better, but I mean it's gonna
Right.
work out. Like you find the spot, you find the shot. That's kind of like makes you, I want to play again, I want to play again, I want to play again, I want to try new things. And that's how I think also for beginners, they just start and then they can, in a boot camp of like 2 hours, they can end up playing a game by themselves. That's amazing. And I think that's where the sport gets so catchy.
Yeah, for sure. It was the same for me, and I think a lot of people as well. That's why it's one of the fastest growing sports right now. But I'm always intrigued and interested talking with high level athletes from other sports. Once they find pickleball, it's like, does it seem as addicting for them as it does like the average player that's like a 3-0 who loves to get up every day and play? And the answer so far that I've seen is yes, it is. It's
Yeah.
just as addicting. Okay, so that leads me into this question. What do your friends and family think about you pursuing professional pickleball?
That's I will start with my father. I mean, when I signed up for a tournament in December. It was the World Pickleball Open last December. That was my first pro tournament, and I played men's doubles and men's singles, and I paid $300 around that for the entry fee. And he was like, "What are you doing? Like what are you like? Are you gonna spend that money to go play a pickleball tournament?" I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I want to try it. Let me try." And then
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's like they don't get it yet. Now that I play some tournaments on center courts, and then there's like an interview, and I mean, like the actual YouTube thing, they see, okay, now this is a little bit more real. And then yeah, now they get it. But yeah, the beginning is like kind of like funny. Well, my friend that showed me the sport at the beginning, he was from the first moment. He was like, "Dude, play pickleball tournaments, play pro, play pro." I was like, "No, I'm not gonna play pro. I'm not. There's no way." And now it's like a real thing.
Yeah, and I think that's where I think you guys start to see that, hey, maybe there is a future with this because at the top, I'm not saying that every professional pickleball player right now is making money because that's not true. They're not all making money right now, but there is a real opportunity for someone between the age of, say, Anna Lee at 15 all the way up to about, you know, 34, 35. We've seen even like a Ryan Sherry who's playing competitively at the pro level in pickleball at like 38, 39, I think. Um, so there is this window of opportunity. Also, the money is starting to get better. Did you see? I don't. Forgive me if you were in it. Were you in the MLP or did you participate in that one? Okay,
I
I didn't.
didn't play. I didn't play, but I know everything. Yeah.
Yeah, so like they split the four of those players split $25,000, and I don't know about you, but if somebody hands me $25,000 for a weekend of pickleball, I'm going to be pretty excited about that. How about you? Would you be excited about 25 grand?
I think that what you say is like kind of like that risk, kind of like betting on the sport is kind of like where I really like it, because it's like this is something new, and it's because tennis, we all know there's like 100 players that they make good money. It's really tough to get there, but pickleball is like, I don't know what's gonna happen to pickleball. Maybe in 2 years it's ridiculous, like the money that is out there. Maybe not. We don't know. But I mean that part makes it exciting. I think.
Well, I can tell you, you haven't been around all that long in pickleball, but
Yeah.
I've been around almost. It's been 5.5 years, so I've been around the
Mhm.
sport for a while now, and I can tell you that this is the most exciting times that I've seen because
Well,
the APP, the PPA, MLP, all these different organizations are really starting to ramp up the money and the excitement and just like the hype right now is real and it's starting to really catch momentum. Where 5 years ago, honestly, these pros were playing part time. they'd go to work all week. They'd show up, late Friday night, and the tournaments would be on Saturday and Sunday. Or if they played singles, they would show up on Thursday night. But even singles was kind of a joke at that point. They weren't even practicing that much for singles. It was kind of like an afterthought in pickleball. But now it's becoming a real thing. And that's what I was going to ask you also. Do you think the transition for a tennis player coming over is easier to jump into singles right away and then build up a name for themselves so they can try to get doubles partners?
Yes, it is. I mean, everybody knows, right? I mean, coming from tennis, it just makes the angles of the court when you're playing make more sense. When you're playing pickleball doubles, it's like you're trying to hit angles that's not the right choice. So it just makes more sense what you're doing. Like you're coming in from the backhand, you're hitting a volley to the other side. You can, I don't know, it just you feel more comfortable. But yeah, I mean, I think that's gonna happen. It's not gonna be like it's gonna be like a snowball. Like more money, better players. Players are gonna play full time. They're gonna be better level of play, and it's not gonna stop.
So with that being said, are you anticipating that going forward, and are you training more versus playing rec games? I mean, how do you balance practicing, training, and do you take it serious enough to put that work in and that time in?
Yeah, I'm trying to take it completely seriously, like full time. Of course, I have to sometimes teach and make money, but I'm taking it like as seriously as I can. Training full, like same as with tennis training. Like doing conditioning, training, doing drills. Rec plays. I mean, you can play. When people say rec play, is kind of like playing for fun, like having fun. We play matches, but we still take it seriously as a competitive tournament. I think that's the key. That when you play a match, just play it as you're playing a pro event.
Absolutely. I counted, I think, 19 tournaments that you've played officially on the record. I know the money balls, you've played several of those, but I went back and looked at your pickleball tournaments. I think it's 19 tournaments since, I believe, it's like September of 2021 or July of
19,
2021.
that's a lot, man.
Yeah, 19. You've played a bunch. So far, what is your favorite moment in your young pickleball career?
Yeah, I would say I had some moments. The US Open was really fun to beat Tyson on the center court. That was really nice because of the atmosphere of the tournament. Just great. And then, but I think just like winning the PPA in Atlanta was just the highlight of my career right now, probably.
You said the Atlanta tournament?
The Atlanta Open at the PPA, yeah, the singles.
Who did you, forgive me, who did you take down in that one in the finals?
Rafa Hewitt. It was the Fed Rafa match.
Awesome. I love it. We'll talk about that in a little bit. All right. What is your favorite shot in tennis? And then what is your favorite shot in pickleball? Is it same? Is it different? Go ahead and speak on that.
This is gonna be different because my favorite shot in tennis was this. Well, I'll say the volley. The volley. I was really good at volleys in tennis, but the pickleball is not the same volley, so it kind of doesn't count. But I really like from pickleball. I'll say the returns because I gotta get better at returns.
And then also, I think I've seen you hit a two-handed backhand in pickleball. Did you have a one or a two-handed in tennis?
No, two hands. Yeah, two hands.
So that transition, did that transfer over pretty easily?
No, at the beginning I was hitting one-handed backhand in pickleball because I felt like I couldn't put my two hands in the grip. It was too little. And then it's like, oh, okay, I can put the finger up here, And then that worked out. That at the beginning I was just slicing drops with the backhand, nothing else.
Awesome. And so far, when you've played these top guys like Tyson McGuffin and even Rafa Hewitt is a guy who's been around a long time. Have you played Ben Johns? I don't even know if you've played.
No, I didn't yet.
Okay, and then I think you've played quite a few. You've played, I believe, J.W. Johnson, correct?
Yeah, I played pretty much everybody except Ben Johns, I guess.
Okay, so when you play these guys, are you seeing that, you're being challenged every single point? Do you feel like you need to stay focused during these big matches because they're bringing the heat?
Yeah, I mean, singles pickable, I feel like, I mean, doubles too, but anyone could beat anyone. That's the fun part about it. If you're not focused, if you miss three, four returns that could happen in a row, I mean, then the other guy is 4 points ahead of you. Anyone can beat you. But yeah, I mean, just J.W. Johnson saying they are what they do is that they stay at the high level the whole time, and that they don't give you a break. So if you don't perform well the whole time, then you're out, and the pickable match just goes so fast that you have to stay focused the whole time. If not, you're in the back draw or you're out.
Yeah. When you get put in the back draw, does that motivate you? Or I know some of the pros, because they have to play doubles and mixed doubles, it's kind of like, all right, I'm not even going to push to make it back to the bronze. Or are you the type of competitor that just will keep pushing?
It's it kind of depends how you lose. I think if you lose kind of like if you are like kind of like mental about how you lost the match before, it takes you longer to motivate yourself. But at the beginning, I was having hard times because I was like losing, and then I was like, oh my gosh, I was still thinking about the match, and then you bring it in the backdrop. But now I'm like working on that, because I mean the APP you can come back to the gold medal match if you make it. The PPA you can do the bronze, but it's still good, like it's and it's. I mean, you still get more practice in playing against players. I think that's the positive part about it, the backdrop.
Absolutely. We kind of talked a little bit about this, but I want you to elaborate a little bit more. In pickleball, do you prefer singles or doubles? And then explain to everybody watching, like, how are those things different in your mind? Playing singles versus doubles, like, how would you break those things down for somebody that's watching?
I prefer. Well, I don't prefer any between, but I'm just better at singles, so I prefer singles right now. Uh, but yeah, the difference is just completely like I would call it a different sport because it's just so different. Like even though how you hit the serve, how you hit the returns, the patience that you need to have in doubles comparing to singles. Singles, you're trying to always take the initiative the whole time, trying to take balls out of the air, and the ball is when doubles you're trying to maybe be patient, and also mixed doubles is way different than men's doubles, so that makes another thing. So that's kind of like the trick part about all these guys. I mean, I'm trying to when we're playing like the three events, it's like every day is kind of like completely different from the other one. So just have to like change your mindset and go out there, and then it's a different plan, and then it's a different game mind. It's crazy how that works in the same sport.
Absolutely. This question's tricky or interesting. In relation to pickleball, where do you see yourself or your career in 5 years from now in the sport? And then the second part of that is, where do you see the sport in 5 years? Do you see it going to that level where you can make a career, maybe stop teaching and just pursue pickleball? I think you'd be 30 or 31 at that point. Would it even be worth it to you? You know?
Yeah, I mean, what do you see? So I see myself playing pickleball for sure. Where do I want myself to see? I mean, yeah, I would love to be able to just play full time and be like kind of like yeah a professional athlete, because that's what I'm when you get to a point that the level is so high, if you have like kids like 18, 19, 20s in the best shape, if you don't take care of yourself the whole day and try to like recover, get a conditioning done, practice, drill, play, practice matches, you're not gonna be able to keep up. So I would love to see the sport at that level where you have to do that in able to stay in the game. That would be amazing.
Yeah, definitely. I was actually talking to Tyson McGuffin, who's been around the sport around maybe 6 years, 7 years. Um, he's like 31, 32 now. And I was kind of asking him, what do you do to off the court to stay in good shape, to prepare your body, to keep yourself from getting injured? Because he's playing against a guy like J.W. Johnson or even you at 26. I mean, he's got to have some type of edge. And I mean, I don't want to give specific numbers, but he spends quite a bit of time and resources on his body, eating, diet, training, stretching, just all the recovery stuff. I think that stuff is so important, and it's very underrated, I believe, as a professional athlete.
I agree 100%. Yeah, I agree 100%. And it will be great that everybody starts doing that, because the level of play will be so high. Imagine like everybody, being so fit, where this even singles will be get so good, because you would just get like players getting to every ball, every ball, just one more, and then the points will be amazing, instead of just like serving, missing the return, serving, making the return, missing the third, kind of like that thing.
Definitely. This is kind of a side question. Um, the paddles are evolving and progressing. Do you think that in the next 2 to 3 years that maybe the sport's going to evolve even more to where the paddles might make even more of a difference as far as like spin, power? I feel like things are changing a little. I just was wondering if you thought the same, if paddles are evolving and are going to start to make a difference in the professional sport.
Yeah, I think right now it makes a difference. It makes a difference, but I mean, it's kind of like all the brands are trying to figure out what's the best for their players. But it does make it. It's not the same as we were saying before. Like, it's not the same to play with a cheap paddle than to play with a good professional, legit paddle. It's not the same, but I think that eventually, in a few years, just everything is gonna be kind of like the same thing. They're gonna figure out, okay, this is what is working. It's in the legal margins, and then everybody's gonna be kind of like doing the same prototypes.
Yeah,
I believe.
definitely. I think it's interesting because I've talked to different, manufacturers and things like that, just people who create paddles. And you have some people who are okay with staying within the confines of the USA Pickleball standard, the guidelines, or I guess you would say the standard of the paddle being made. And some of the companies are wanting to push a little bit and push those boundaries to try to get them to loosen up and allow them to use better material or different material or this or that. Do you think other sports like, say, padel, or padel, I think, has the holes in it. It's a little bit thicker paddle. It seems like those things are a little bit more loose with their ability to create and be creative. Would you like to see the sport go in that direction, where people can get more creative and create more spin, more power, just enhancing the players' abilities?
Yeah, I think there should always be rules, because if not, it will be just a disaster. I believe in the rules. I believe in order. I believe everybody should follow that, and then maybe then we can discuss about I don't know, like the grid. Maybe we can put a higher grid or a lower grid, whatever it is. Longer paddles. I mean, why not? But I mean, you have to know that will bring consequences for good or for bad. It needs to be that needs to be speak on detail, because it could bring a lot of damage or good for the sport.
I agree. One last question on paddles. Do you add lead tape to your paddles to add? And then I guess the follow-up question is, if you do add lead tape, what benefit does that get you? And I'm asking for the people watching. They sometimes want to know about lead tape and things like that.
Yeah, I put a little bit on the throat, because it gives me kind of like more. I feel like I can hit more consistent shots, and then it's not gonna decrease my hand speed a little bit. So I put it like a little bit on the throat, and then for singles, I actually put a little bit more, because I like to feel it a little bit heavier, more power on the shot. But I never put on the top. I just don't like it. I feel like the paddle goes, and I can't control it.
It's too top heavy. Is essentially,
Yeah,
I
and
think.
then it decreased my hand speed a lot, and then it just doesn't work for me.
Gotcha. All right, I'm gonna switch gears. It's still relating to pickleball, obviously, but there's 32, I guess, tour stops for the APP this year, and I think there's 20 for the PPA. How do you choose your tournament schedule? And in regards to potential sponsorship or things like that, do you want to be shown at some of the bigger tournaments so that you have a chance to get on the podium potentially, or whatever? How do you work those things out?
Yeah, I try to play the bigger tournaments, but really this year, since it's my first year playing pro, I try to play as many as I can, getting myself the more chances as I can. But yeah, uh, I try to always play close to home. But I mean, right now I'm in California. I'm from Florida, and I'm just staying here for a month playing 4 tournaments. It's kind of like giving more chances to my ability to show myself, and then to get more points, money, prize money, and more exposure.
Awesome. Okay, going back to opponents you played, who's the toughest one that you faced so far? We mentioned a couple of the names, JW, Rafa, Tyson. Who's been your toughest opponent so far?
JW. No, wait. No, there's no
No
discussion
question.
on that. Yeah. He's
What
the
makes him so dangerous?
uh, he just he's really smart player. Even though he has like he's just not thinking when he plays. He's like whatever. No, he's really smart. He knows exactly what to do. His hand speed unbelievable. I mean, he plays really good cat and mouse, and he's just really good, really consistent, and he's the toughest opponent I played against. But it's really fun to play him every time, and it just made me improve. I played him a lot of times because how they make the draws is kind of like you always play the same people the whole time. But
Yeah.
he made me improve a lot, and then I love to play him. I love to play against all the top players for sure.
That's awesome. Awesome. Okay, if you could give a new player one piece of advice to help them with their game, what would that advice be?
For doubles or singles?
I would say singles because I think doubles you could go a bunch of different ways, but like somebody, let's say somebody that's new that wants to get into the singles scene, how would you one piece of advice that would help them in their singles game?
I would say focus a lot on practicing returns because I feel like people don't make sure to give some time on that because serves and returns are such a key part of the singles game because like it's how it starts the point, right? And then it sets you up for how the point is gonna be. So if you start in a opposite way, then you're done, you know. And then a high level, you give a easy return or you give an easy serve, then just the point is not gonna win well for you.
You've touched on returns a couple times. I teach full time, so I can relate to what you're saying. How important are the returns, getting them deep? And then do you have a preference of slicing your return, using top spin? Do you try to go to the corners? Do you hit to the middle in the return? What's kind of your strategy with the returns?
It really depends on a lot of things. Depends on the player, but yeah, if the wind is coming to your face, maybe I prefer to slice a little bit, and if the other player is just ripping third shots, trying to keep the slice down works well too. But yeah, the depth is key. You know, if you can push the player out of the court and then give yourself more time to get to the kitchen, then I think that's the the concept of the return, right, on singles, and also doubles too.
Yes, definitely. We've seen Paris Todd have a bunch of success recently in singles. I've noticed she likes to hit and stay back. She kind of plays more of a tennis style, ground strokes, passing shots. A lot of times at the pro level in the men's division in singles, they'll hit and come up and try to capture the non volley zone, the lineup there. What's your strategy? Do you try to hit and stay back? Do you try to work your way up, or are you getting in there quickly to try to take the net?
No, I'm trying always to get the net as soon as I can. I think for men's singles, you always want to try to get to the non-volley zone, but line. But in women's, I think what happens is that maybe they're not as fast as the men, so maybe they can hit some good drives and passing shots where the man is always gonna be closer to the kitchen line. I think that's where Paris strategy is. I don't want to disclose her, her strategy,
Yeah,
but yeah, I think that's what she's trying to do.
yeah, definitely. No, I think that's pretty obvious. I mean, she's hitting and staying back and trying to hit some
Yeah.
passing shots and things. Um, all right, these next two are kind of tricky. I want you to think about it for a second. You don't have to answer right away. How would you describe your pickleball game in just one word?
Mm. How much time I have to think?
Just take a couple seconds to think about it.
Okay. I don't know.
It's a tough one.
I would say discipline, just because I like to practice every day.
Okay, very good. And then if you could describe pickleball in general in just one word, how would you describe that to somebody in one word?
Yeah, I'd say addicting.
Addicting. I love it. That's a word I would use as well. Okay, this is a good one. If you got to choose one male pro in doubles and one female pro in mixed doubles to team up with, who would they be? And you can take a second for this one too, because I know I'm putting you on the spot here.
Male pro, let's go with JW, and then female pro and mix. I don't know. That's interesting.
Jesse Irvin, Annalie Waters. You've got Paris Todd. There's a bunch of them.
Let's go with Annalie Waters. Why not? Let's go with Annalie Waters.
I love it. See, this is my chance to give you a shout out for this, so maybe you can make that happen now.
But then I made the other players feel bad, you know.
Yeah, no, it's all good, man. It's all good. I know that's a tough question, but the truth is, chemistry in doubles sports is a big thing, and so even if, let's say, one of the top pros is somebody that you would want to team up with, and then you actually play with them, the chemistry might not be there, even though both players are a great team, individual players. It all comes down to that chemistry and the court presence together and working together. So, you don't have to feel bad about that. I think not everybody, we've seen that. I'm not going to name specifics, but there have been some team matchups that you thought going in, that's a good team. And then they just fizzle out. They don't play well. So it's not always about two players being good. It's about, are they good together? So yeah, that's interesting. And I love it. JW and Annalie are two rising stars in the sport. For sure. And actually they've had some recent success teaming up this past week. So
yeah, I want to split them up, you know.
Yeah, no, everybody does. I don't think anybody wants them to stay together. All right, I want to talk about this. This is really fun conversation for me to have with you. Recently, you took down Rafa Hewitt in the pro singles final at the PPA Atlanta. You were down in game 5, if I remember correctly. How did you overcome that deficit and win? Now, before you answer, I was watching that match, and you guys were going at it. It was a gunslinging battle. I mean, both guys were just throwing haymakers at each other. I think, if I'm not mistaken, you were down 6-1 at the switch in game 5. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah, that's correct.
And I'm just speaking from my perspective watching. Starting that game 5, I didn't think you started out well. I didn't think you were playing well, whether it was mentally or physically or both. It just didn't seem like you were having it all put together. What made the difference, and how did you overcome that deficit?
Yeah, I think I started really down just because I blew out like 5 match points on that 4th set, and that was terrible. I wanted to finish the match before it was done, so that was like my biggest mistake. And then it just started terrible on the 6-1, and then on the change side, I sat down. I kind of put my towel on my face. I'm like, just fight till the last point. I mean, you're playing terrible, but let's just fight. I mean, you're here. I don't know when I'm gonna be again on that situation. So just fight till the last point. And kind of I think Rafa started wanting to win a little bit more than he should. And then I came back, and then when I'm 7-6 down, I'm like, okay, I'm right here again. So and then I just started playing kind of my game again, and just worked it out well at the end, I guess.
Definitely. I noticed, I don't know if this was something that you consciously did or if you got some coaching during one of the timeouts, but there was this point where even the announcers were talking about you were returning to Rafa's backhand, and it was on fire. Every time he hit his backhand, he was just crushing you. And then it seemed like after the timeout, you came out of that timeout and hit to his forehand, and he started dumping a couple into the net. He hit a couple long. Was that something you consciously started doing with intention?
it was weird because I knew that his backhand was it's kind of like my brain was not connecting with my arms, and I was just hitting to his backhand because I knew he was going to for those amazing passing shots that he has. And then it's kind of like my mind reset a little bit, and then I was able to find that forehand, and that was the spot right there.
Yeah, definitely. I think you kind of were spot on and touched on the fact that I think he got a little overzealous trying to put those points away too soon and
Yeah.
wasn't constructing them enough. And then he started missing. And then I think it changed. And then you caught that momentum at the end. How big is momentum in pickleball? How big does
Oh,
that play a factor?
unbelievable! It's unbelievable because, like, tennis, you win a game, but then you switch sides, you sit down. Pickleball, you can have runs that are like they can go forever. If they don't call it even like a timeout, what is a timeout? It's like 1 minute. I mean, it's nothing, and you're like standing there in the court. Yeah, I mean, the runs are real, and then it's just that's why the good players they're like able to just change things so fast. Figure out so fast, and that makes a really, really, really difference there.
I have a question. So, like, you played college tennis, and you just talked about some of the tennis, the sets, and how it changes. The momentum's not quite as drastic. Is pickleball faster in the sense that, like, you play a point, either good or bad, and then you have to mentally reset right after that. You don't have much time to overcome that. And how do you focus for the next point? Do you have any like tips on how to like refocus that energy instead of getting? Let's say you miss a return at a big moment. How do you
Yeah.
reset?
So I mean, the rules are kind of like, like with the towel thing. There's kind of like a controversy there. Like the players are like, or other people are like, there shouldn't be a towel. I don't know. I like to have the towel there because it's kind of like it gives me like that little walk that I'm like, what did you just do? And then you just cover your face. Okay, let's go again. And then the serve, I have like a little routine. Kind of like a stupid thing, makes me focus for the next point. But yeah, it's I use the towel. I like the towel thing, but then yeah, when someone uses it against me, I hate it. I want to play the point right away. But I mean, I know it's part of the sport.
For sure. Okay, I got another good question. In pickleball, you get 2 timeouts per game. I
Mm-hmm.
know for a fact J.W. Johnson does not like using timeouts. He just doesn't call them that much. What are your thoughts on timeouts? Do you like them? Do you have a strategy of when you use them? Talk on that a little bit.
Yeah, I like them. I usually use them when I play a huge long point that doesn't give me like that much time to recover for the next one. I try to always save one for that moment. But yeah, I mean, if the other guy is just blasting balls everywhere, or same thing with that was you just losing, you need that timeout. Kind of like that was a little bit trickier because there's two serves, so kind of like using that timeout in the middle is kind of like not good sometimes. But yeah, I mean, I like to use them, but I always save one if I'm tired. Sometimes I end up not even using that one.
There's a guy, Mircea Marayu. He's a senior pro out
Yeah.
of where we are, JW's area in Delray. He doesn't believe you should ever get tired in doubles. He doesn't talk about it in singles. Do you find that doubles is less taxing physically? Is singles a huge workout? Like what? Talk about the energy that has to be used in pickleball.
No, yeah, I agree. Singles is it's just a huge workout. But doubles still like you're putting some effort on your body. I mean, you're down squatting almost sometimes, But yeah, I agree with him that you could play if you're in a good shape. You should be able to play doubles the whole day. Like 4 hours in the morning and then eat something and play 4 hours again. I think so because you're not running that much. It's just like yeah, sometimes the heat is insane and then you get tired. But I think that you should be able to play it for a long time doubles for sure.
Definitely. Also, another question. These are questions I'm asking for people that are watching that want to know about how pro players handle themselves during tournament day and stuff. Do you eat a big breakfast? Do you eat just a little bit on tournament day? And also throughout the day, how do you spread out your eating and things like that?
I try to eat a big breakfast. Sometimes we start like 7:30, and it's not. They don't give me much time to sleep and eat. But yeah, I try to eat big breakfast. I mean, but a lot of fruits. Like also water, electrolytes, of course. Trying to get some smoothies maybe in the middle of the day, but not. I never tried to get like a heavy food, like I don't know, like a plate of pasta, but if I have a little time, maybe a turkey sandwich, if I have like 1 hour and a half that I know that I'm gonna be resting, maybe some real food is good. But yeah, mainly like fruits, nuts, a lot of water, of course, and also a lot of water before the match, before the day of the match, like kind of like a gallon I try to drink.
Definitely. That's an important part. Also, do you put any electrolytes in your water or do you just drink straight water?
No, I usually have two bottles, so one with electrolytes and one with none. I kind of like mix it in because I mean you can't just drink electrolytes the whole day. It's like your belly's gonna explode. But yeah, I try to have one water and then one with electrolytes. Yeah.
Awesome. And then throughout the day, if you're starting to feel a little bit tired or weak or your energy's low, do you have like a go-to snack that you'll eat? Like, I know I like the fruit snacks, the little packs of fruit snacks.
Yeah.
Some people, I've seen some of the pros drink like a Coke, literally like a Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
What is your go-to?
I don't like soda that much now, but yeah, I really like fruits. Anything that is like smoothies, that kind of thing. I love it. Bananas, just kind of like the normal thing, nothing crazy.
Gotcha. Cool. Well, that's all my questions. We've got a couple questions from the fans watching. And also I want to just throw up a couple names like Selena Sharifi. I don't know if you know some of these people, but she said, "Let's go."
Yeah, she's
Um,
my girlfriend. Yeah.
oh, that's your girlfriend. All right, very cool. All right, what about Augustin Torres?
Yeah,
Do you
he's
know
a
who that
friend of
is?
mine. He's a friend of mine from Miami. Yeah.
Awesome, man, awesome. And then this one obviously is some type of relation. Who is
Yeah,
Goldbrandt
he's
Staksrud?
he's my he's my father. Yeah.
That's your father. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah.
All right, and then I feel like this is kind of a loaded question, but look at this. Mike, I guess Werner, he said, who is his favorite player at Three Oaks Cardio Tennis? So obviously that's a loaded question,
Yeah, no, I can't say anyone because the
right?
he's putting me in a big spot right there now. I can't.
Is he like associated with that at all with Three Oaks? Is that
Yeah, that's the class that I told you that one of my students told me about pickleball, and then he was one of that cardio tennis from Three Oaks. Yep.
gotcha? And then of course Eden Lika, he was one of the guys. I'm good friends with them. Let's talk about this. How do you know Eden? And then what's this El Nino, El Matador, Tiki Taka? What is all this stuff?
I don't know. He's crazy. I think he's talking about soccer, but Evan Evan is a beast. I want to play doubles with him. He doesn't want to play with me, but we'll see when that works out.
I love it. I love it. That's awesome. He's a great player, by the way. Great doubles player, great singles
Yeah.
player. I've played him in singles. I don't play a lot of singles, but I was good enough in this one bracket. It was up in New York 2 years ago. I was good enough to beat everybody else, but I got to the finals, and it was Eden that I was playing in the finals. He beat me something like 11-2, 11-3, something like that. But I've never played somebody who can watch like what I commit to doing left or right, and then he can go the opposite at the last
Yeah, he
minute.
waits.
It's unbelievable that ability to take that ball and wait till the very last second. Have you played him in a singles match or whatever?
I never played him, but yeah, I've seen him a lot of times. His backhand, one-handed backhand flick is unbelievable. I mean, for singles, I mean, he's such a good doubles player too. Him and Andre do a great team, and they're like both like 10 meters tall, so they can cover the whole court.
Oh my gosh, I call them the Romanian Giants because there's so
Yeah,
much to deal with out there.
yeah, I know. Is that they're like both walls.
Yeah. Okay, KJ Moses. I don't know if you know KJ. He said, "Let's go, Fed, vamos."
Yeah, good friend of mine from state of Florida. Yeah, we drill a lot together.
Okay, that was one of the questions I had earlier, but I kind of skipped over it. Is like, do you have a drilling partner? So KJ would be somebody that you spend time with on the court that practices and stuff.
Yeah, we used to not much anymore because he's busy working, but we used to. I kind of started playing singles with CJ Klinger,
Oh yeah,
so he's a great singles player. He lives part of the year right next to where I live. And then I'm practicing a lot with also Pablo Teles, Simone Jardim. She's been great to me. We practice a lot. She's from that area too. And then Ryan Sherry, of course. Ryan. There's a lot of players down in Southwest Wallacea. That's great to get so many practice partners.
love it, love it. And then, do you know Juan Diego?
Yeah, Juan Diego is my friend.
He's a very handsome player. I love it. And then this, who is this in relation to you? Staksrud
she's
Astrid?
she's my sister.
That's your sister.
Yeah, she's
Okay.
playing college tennis right now. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, where I used to play. Yeah, Tennessee Wesleyan.
At the Tennessee Wesleyan. That's
Yeah.
awesome, man. Did she come over from Argentina as well, or was she already here?
No, Argentina. Yep.
Very cool, man. Very cool. Well, buddy, that's all I've got for you today. We're coming up on an hour. What a fantastic interview. You're an awesome guy, very chill, very relaxed. I look forward to seeing you on the Pro Tour more. We can't talk about some big plans that have happened in your life with some stuff, but there's going to be some revealing of that soon enough, I'm sure. So congratulations to you on all your success. I hope that you continue to train hard and to take that number one spot. I'd love nothing more for you to win the number one spot in pickleball.
Thank you, man. It was great. It was great. Thank you for having me, and I felt really comfortable and just great time.
Awesome, man. And good luck at the APP SoCal Classic. You're playing men's doubles tomorrow with tell who's your partner for tomorrow?
So I'm playing with Wyatt Stone tomorrow, men's doubles. I think it's gonna be great. We just finished practicing. I think we're gonna be really good. And then men's singles, of course, Sunday.
Awesome. Do you don't know who you're playing yet in singles? They don't put the draw out till
They
later,
put it
right?
tomorrow. So tomorrow afternoon they're gonna put it. Yep.
Put it out. Okay, awesome, man. Look forward to seeing you. Have a great afternoon. Go enjoy some pickleball, and we'll catch up with you later.
All right, man. Thank you.
You got it.